This is an Ice Guys Patreon exclusive.
Welcome to another season of the Ice Guys NHL Team Season Preview videos. For a second straight year, we are rolling out a team preview video every single day from September 1st to October 2nd. We call it 32 teams in 32 days to get you ready for the upcoming 2025-2026 NHL season. Just like last year, we will be going in alphabetical order, which means we are starting with the Anaheim Ducks. Quack, quack. Quack, 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 quack. The Anaheim Ducks here in this season preview video. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you. And before we get to talking some Anaheim Ducks hockey, we want to make a bit of an announcement here. We have a brand new cannabis sponsor this season for the Ice Guys show, and we'd like to welcome on board our friends at Royal Cannabis as our new sponsor.
Yeah. Royal Cannabis, also known as RC Cultivators, out of Randleman, North Carolina. They are joining us. As you see at the top of the screen to the right, you'll see the new logo. We'll have new backdrops and everything. There'll be new ads involved as well. Have some great deals and specials. Coupon code as well. It's still Ice Gas, still 20% off over at RoyalCannabisShop.com. So definitely check that out. We're happy to welcome them to the Ice Gas family.
Absolutely. Great to have them on board. And I tell you what, I know Anaheim Ducks fans are excited to welcome Coach Q into the family. Joel Quenneville, the new head coach, of course, of the Anaheim Ducks. And there is a lot of excitement, enthusiasm, positivity, I think, surrounding this Anaheim Ducks team for the first time in a very long time. When you look at last year, obviously, Anaheim, a season where they ended up with 80 points, not bad. They finished ahead of Seattle in the Pacific Division and San Jose with that 80 points that they accumulated. They also finished ahead of Nashville and Chicago in the Central Division. So, for a season where it never felt like they were going to make the playoffs, it was still not the worst season in the world. Unfortunately, though, it did cost Greg Cronin his job, and now Joel Quenneville takes over behind the bench, and it's about time he got another opportunity. Obviously, we know it's well documented, the Chicago situation, but now, to get that opportunity again to coach in the National Hockey League. We remember Joel Quenneville, when he took over Chicago all those years ago, and how he was tasked with taking a very young team and taking them to another level. He was able to do that, and it goes without saying he was able to do that. And even when he was with Florida, the last time we saw him, pretty solid results there with that Panthers team. But again, when you look at Joel Quenneville now and the young group that he has to work with, there is no shortage, Alex, whatsoever of what they can provide up front and what they have to offer as far as goal scoring and forward prowess. I think they're forming a very, very solid center ice position. We always talk about it, too. Center ice is very important. Depth at the center position. And when you look at the fact that going into this year's training camp, Coach Q is going to have to work with Leo Carlsson, Michael Granlund, who was brought in, a great addition, great season he had, especially with the Dallas Stars. That back half of the regular season certainly played solid for the Dallas Stars. You have Carlsson, Michael Granlund, Mason McTavish, and don't sleep on Ryan Poehling, who's become a very solid fourth-line player in the NHL the last year or two. That's not bad when you look at the center ice position. Chris Kreider, part of this team now, bringing him in from the New York Rangers. Now, again, with Chris Kreider, not the fastest skater, never has been, but still, he's someone that has the ability to know where to go, the positions to go on the ice to score goals, and he's been always good around the net, and that's probably something the Anaheim Ducks could need. It'll give you a little veteran presence, a little leadership for what's still a relatively young group. Alex Killorn, of course, was brought in to deliver that last year as well for the Ducks. He remains there as well. So you do have some veterans to help out the younger guys, which is good to see. Granlund's another guy that can kind of help that out as well. Frank Vetrano now is getting into his more veteran part of his career. And then, of course, you've got Leo Carlsson, to me, is the guy that, as the number one center, we saw in his second year last year, I thought down the stretch, he just got more confident. He goes from 29 points in his rookie season and 12 goals to 20 goals and 45 points this past season. And I think he's going to be pushing for 30 goals and possibly that, 60, 70 point range this year. I could clearly see that here at the very least with Leo Carlsson. Point per game player, I wouldn't even rule that out. I mean, I think he is starting to really get it at the NHL level, which is great to see. And like I said, I expect big things from him. Troy Terry, will, like I said, great goal scorer, offensive talent as well. Absolute lethal sniper. Cutter Gauthier is another one that as the season progressed last year, after a slow start, really started to get a lot more comfortable. Mason McTavish, believe it or not, who had a really good year 2 years ago, down year last year, but I wouldn't write him off just yet. Mason McTavish, he did get hampered by injuries a little bit last year as well for the Anaheim Ducks. So, you would expect with a little bit, hopefully better health luck for him this season, things will be better for him. Yeah, his numbers did, like I said, up and down. But like I said, I do think you're going to see him have a pretty solid season here for the Anaheim Ducks. Ryan Strome, Sam Colangelo was someone that, we actually cast a few goal props at big plus prices with Sam Colangelo in a couple of spots last year, and he showed that he could give you some punch from the bottom six forward group. So I don't think goal scoring will be much of an issue here for the Anaheim Ducks. The blue line, you look at it, there is just like some of the other teams that are trying to rebuild. You can see that a young core and a nucleus is starting to form here just a little bit with Jackson Lacombe, Kookie, lend me Lacombe, Jackson Lacombe, who was very good for them last year and certainly showed a lot of offensive upside from the blue line. Lug the puck, shoot the puck pretty well to contribute 43 goals and 75 points, including 14 goals as a defenseman last year for the Anaheim Ducks. So lots to like about Jackson Lacombe's game. Pavel Minchikov, of course, he provides, a nice little balanced, production defensively, good in terms of skating, can contribute offensively, but will also be steady in his zone. So I'd like to see him be a little bit more physical, but like I said, that may come in time. Don't have to worry about physicality with two of the old veterans on this blue line, Radko Gudas and Jacob Trouba. There will be no shortage of physicality from those two guys, and that's good. You need those two guys to be the physical presence on the blue line. In case anyone takes liberties, some of the younger players, you got guys that can kind of back them up. I think Olin Zellweger is on the precipice of a big season on the blue line for Anaheim. He's got immense talent. We saw it in flashes last year. I expect him to be probably with the great chance to be with Anaheim for the full season. I expect him to be good enough to be able to. And Drew Hellison, people like what they're seeing from him. Of course, finally, after all these years of talking about it, Anaheim trades John Gibson, parts ways. They say goodbye to their longtime veteran goaltender to clear the way at long last for a guy that I like, Alex likes quite a bit, Lukas Dostal taking over as the undisputed number one goaltender here for the Anaheim Ducks. It's a guy that I think, we remember him winning the World Championship with Czechia. We see last year his numbers improved from 2 years ago. Goals against average went down, save percentage went up a little bit, and now you're just building him up, right? 19 games to 44 games 2 years ago to 54 games played last year, and now he'll be knocking on the door, I would say, of probably 65 to 70 games this year. That being said, you're talking about two veteran goaltenders behind Lukas Dostal that can help him out. Now, you can talk about how great they are at this stage of their careers or not, but you have Ville Husso there in the goaltender room, along with Peter Mrazek. Now, I'm not banking on Peter Mrazek to be around for the full season. We know it's just one injury after another. When that groin pops again, look out for Peter Mrazek. But nevertheless, it is comforting to know that Lukas Dostal does have a couple of, veteran goalies that have played a ton of games at the NHL level. It can't hurt. There's no question. And if something were to happen to Dostal, like I said, you've got two guys that have played a lot of games at the NHL level. There's a lot pointing up with Anaheim, and they've got the coach that has shown an ability, most importantly, to mold a young group, tell them show them the ways of how you get better as a team, accountability, playing for one another, 200-foot game, becoming there's so many of these players that need to become better two-way players. I think they had gotten to the end of their rope with Trevor Zegras, and we wish Trevor Zegras well in Philadelphia, but I think part of that is they want to instill a culture of, hey, offense is great, but playing both sides of the puck is even more important and greater. And Anaheim to take that next step. That's going to have to be what they focus on going into this upcoming season. But I like him, and I'm just banking on a guy that has been there, done that. And I think just the change of because look, Cronin was a hard ass. We're not going to sugarcoat it. He was pretty tough on Anaheim, at the young kids at times here in Anaheim. Joel Quenneville is going to be someone that I think is going to be able to get the message through a little bit. They're going to be more receptive to the message. I believe the players here with Anaheim, with a guy like Coach Q. They needed a new voice. They're going to get it, and they're going to get a guy that's obviously had a ton of success. So you look at Anaheim here going into the season, and this is a point total that I do like as far as Anaheim goes. Point total in that 81.5 range. I do like over with Anaheim. When you think about it, everything that was going on with Anaheim last year with this hockey team, and yet still they managed a season of 80 points. You know, they only have to be 2 points better than that to go over 81.5 points this year. And I think they can clearly do that when I think the team is better on paper. And I certainly think they have a better head coach and a more stabilized coaching situation, and someone that has shown to take a team and improve them almost instantly in a first season. He's done it before, and I wouldn't put it past Joel Quenneville to do it again. Alex, your thoughts on the Anaheim Ducks?
It's great to see Joel Quenneville back in the NHL. And I know there's probably some concerns about hiring a guy who's going to turn 67 in a couple of weeks to take over a group with a lot of young players and a young core. But the fact that they have everything that we've seen Quenneville work with and succeed with. And you laid it out perfectly. They have a perfect blend of youngsters and veterans. They have physicality amongst that blue line. They have depth within goaltending. You have a young goalie that you can rely on to play in big games, but you have not one but two veterans to back up and to spell time and to balance things. And that's one thing that Quenneville's done really well amongst the older school coaches who've made it into the kind of new style of the NHL. He's been able to balance between his goalies well. He's not just running a guy for 70, 75 games like it's the 90s. So that's something I trust in him to do well and continue to do well. And, like I said, letting these young guys grow and giving them their space and not riding them too hard. He's still going to be strict and stern, and you still have to play a certain kind of way, and you got to play two-way hockey if you're going to be in a Joel Quenneville club. That is a given. But the thing that I worry about with Quenneville, and the thing that we saw with him toward the end of his Chicago tenure, not so much his Florida tenure, but that was different. But the end of the Chicago tenure was the line blending. We always talked about Q's blender. You get the big blender out and toss things around, and you didn't know who was playing on what line, from any shift to shift in a game if things, got out of hand. That's something I'm hoping maybe he tones down a little bit with this group. Let these young guys develop chemistry with their line mates. Give them time to gel and mold. Don't make too many rash decisions as far as changing the lineups, certainly within the game. That's the only caveat I would say that maybe Duck fans would have to be concerned about with Coach Q. But other than that, the way this lineup is constructed, like I said, having Dostal finally, I think he's going to be a guy. We talk about what futures plays. I would maybe dabble with him in the Vezina Trophy category. Because if we're talking about this team making that leap to being a playoff team, it's going to rely on him playing just as well, if not better, than he did last year. And I think that could certainly get him into that Vezina conversation. Maybe not top three, but he should definitely be in the conversation if he can hold up with his health and still play with the level we've seen him progress at over the last couple of seasons. So I'm very excited to see him perform. I'm just excited to see a lot of these young kids. I think this is going to be a fun team. It's going to be a good, profitable team. Whenever they're underdogs, we'll be able to cash the money with them. I think we'll be able to cash some overs as well. While Coach Quenneville is a defensive guy, we've seen his teams get up and at him on the offensive end. We saw that in Chicago. We saw that in Florida. I would not shock me to see some 5-2, 6-2 Anaheim wins against some of those middle-of-the-road teams. And we can cash some nice plus profits with the Ducks this year. I like them to make the playoffs. I'm taking a shot with them. I saw a plus 300 available at FanDuel for them to make the playoffs. I will go over their point total. I'd even maybe dabble at plus 180 at BetMGM for the Ducks to get 90 or more points. Like I said, it usually takes about 93 to 96 to get into the postseason. So you can get some really good plus money with that. Go over the 80 and a half at a minus price, but you can also get plus 180 if you get them. You just go over 90.
Yeah, I think I love the point total over. That's my favorite Anaheim. That's my favorite Anaheim preseason bet. Like, there's a lot that I like. We were going to dabble. I agree with you about taking a shot at 40-1 at FanDuel right now with Lukas Dostal to win the Vezina. That's worth a shot. I like the plus 300 that's out there for them to make the playoffs. Again, that's ambitious, but we're talking about a team that's ready, I think, to make a jump. A coach that has shown he can instantly take a team and improve them and get
Have
them
to mention this too.
Yeah.
At FanDuel, they have now where you can bet on stage of elimination. So they have missed the playoffs, first round, conference semifinal, conference finals, cup final. I would maybe take a shot with Anaheim to lose in the first round, plus 500. Who's to say? I mean,
Montreal Canadiens Part 2, right? Young team takes a big jump. Surprise to some, maybe not us, but I know some would be surprised if Anaheim makes the playoffs. But things click that much with the young group that they make the playoffs. But as we saw with Montreal against Washington in the first round this past season, just not ready yet to win that first playoff series. That is a great approach. Plus 500, they get knocked out first round. Yeah.
And if we're going to just look ahead, right? Who are the top teams in the West? We're looking at Dallas. You're looking at Edmonton. You're looking at Colorado. Those teams are more than likely who we could see Anaheim matched up with in the first round, be it wild card. So that's it. Necessarily be Edmonton. It could be a team out of the top team out of the Central. So you're not going to get plus 500 betting on Dallas to beat them in the first round or betting Edmonton to beat them in the first round. That's certainly a bet I will be making now for sure. You won't find that value in April if they make the playoffs.
That's a great well done FanDuel with that. That's a great prop category. Stage of elimination for all 32 teams there. You can bet them to miss the playoffs, and then if they make the playoffs first round, then conference semis, conference finals, Stanley Cup final elimination, and then of course obviously win the Stanley Cup. So like I said, it's a great betting a prop category there available at FanDuel. No doubt, definitely excited to see this Anaheim Ducks team. There's no doubt we're excited to see what they can do. And like I said, as far as player props, I'm anything Leo Carlsson, sign me up. I think Leo Carlsson, man, and I know he's going to be two-way guy. We know he's going to be responsible defensively, but I think his offensive side of his game is going to explode this year in the first year under Joel Quenneville. I really, truly believe that. And I think we are going to see that. So anything you can find, certainly the points for Leo Carlsson.
Yeah.
You have to wait to see if he gets posted because it's still early in the game. There's only a handful of players where player props for the season are posted, season-long point props and goal props. But if we find at any point Leo Carlsson goal and especially the point props, I'm going to be betting over. I think he's going to have a great year.
And we've never designated a bargain bin team. But my God, this has to be on your list of teams with the most bargain bin worthy players that we could see throughout the season, right?
I would say so. I would say the Anaheim Ducks and several of their players will make the bargain bin special of the night segment this season a handful of times. There's no question. There you have it, Anaheim Ducks for the upcoming season. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. This has been your Anaheim Ducks 2025-2026 season preview as 32 teams in 32 days rolls along, courtesy of the Ice Guys.